You know, Bass, today...
Are we rolling?
We're rolling, and today feels like a two-Gumout day to me.
You know what? Give me my Gumout.
No, Hey!
Welcome once again to the Rowdy.com Big 3 Gumout edition.
And we say Gumout because we're going to Canada.
We're going to Canada, and we're going to be talking about Canada in just a minute. I am Bassmasters. He is Buzz Cutler. We're talking NASCAR racing. We love to do that.
Yeah, but it's the Big 6 today, right?
Oh, right, the Big 6, because Gumout Regain Complete Fuel System Cleaner cleans not 3, but 6 of 6 engine parts, unlike its competition, Lucas, which only cleans the 3.
Why even bother with Lucas when you have Gumout at your disposal? Issue number 1 for today. There is talk that this might be the season in which NASCAR crowns a winless champion, a champion who has not scored a single victory all season long. How would that sit with you, Bassmasters?
Well, I would like it, and I don't think you can protect for that eventuality. You can't guarantee that that won't ever happen, but I do think it is possible, and it's also possible, certainly very possible, that someone will win the chase without winning a race in the chase. That, I think, is probably likely to happen given the current point system at some point in time. But I think, to me, it says we need to emphasize winning and the top finishes overall more in the points. But consistency is always going to be important. So I don't think you can ever guarantee that there won't be the possibility of a winless champion. I hope it doesn't. And you know, it's never happened, by the way.
It's never happened, and I think it's unlikely to happen this season based on how various people are performing. But if you look over the course of the last 10 races, who's been the most consistent, who's been the strongest? Carl Edwards.
Still doesn't have a win.
Doesn't have a win
in like 50 races.
NASCAR is not like stick and ball sports where 50% of the teams win any given match. Only 1 in 43 of these guys is going to win an event. So if the day comes when we do crown a winless champion, I don't think I'm going to get all up in arms about it, because you can run top fives, not win, and be by far the strongest car in the field over a period of time.
You could. You could. However, I do think that winning should be more important relative to the other positions than it is right now. Issue number 2.
Actually, it's issue number 3 and 4.
Oh, okay.
3 and 4.
Right. Gumout Regain Complete Fuel System Cleaner.
The Big 6. The news has just come out that ISC, International Speedway Corporation, and the Commonwealth of Virginia are going to team up to spend $3 million in improving Martinsville Speedway.
That's a good thing.
And NASCAR has said, in light of that, that they will guarantee that the track keeps 2 dates for the next 5 years.
This is a question of balance to me between expanding the sport, having the sport grow. You think about the new markets that we've gone into, the Chicagos, the Los Angeleses, Kansas. We're going to go into Kentucky next year for the first time with the Cup Series. But while you do that, and while that's important, you've got to maintain the heritage. This track, Martinsville, was on the Cup circuit during the very first season, 1949.
It's the only one.
It's the only one that we currently run that was on the circuit in 1949. It was the 6th race, I believe. And the racing there is unique. And I'm glad they're going to commit to this track for another 5 years, and I hope they go beyond that, because when you lose that heritage from your racetracks, you lose a lot that's essential to the sport. Now, I'm not saying every single race has to be at one of these old historic tracks, but man, it sure is important in my opinion.
Now, Bassmasters, I know that you accuse me of being overly cynical and dwelling on the negative, but Martinsville...
Well, am I wrong?
Martinsville is one of my, if not my favorite racetrack.
Awesome place.
I would put Richmond up there with it as well, but Martinsville, one of my favorite places to go. $3 million, while welcome, is not an awful lot of money.
This is the negativity.
It's not an awful lot of money.
I want more
for track. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not an awful lot of money for track improvements in the scheme of things. The reason NASCAR had to say, look, we'll guarantee them 2 race dates for the next 5 years is because there have been all sorts of nasty rumors swirling for many years now that they're going to lose a date.
Well, some of that money came from Virginia, as you said.
Don't trust any sort of guarantee. And I just say, NASCAR, I say it again, keep your hands off my Martinsville.
Don't worry, we're good.
I'm worried.
Good.
I'm worried.
Issue number 3.
Issue number 3 is sort of the inverse. It's actually issue number 5 and 6, by the way.
Right.
And it's sort of the inverse of issue number 3 and 4. Right, because talking about Martinsville, we're talking about protecting tradition. And
we're talking about old markets.
Old markets. And now for issue 5 and 6, we're going to talk about breaking into new markets. First of all, here's F1 champion Jacques Villeneuve.
I think they do, and I think it would be very popular. There's already a big crowd for Nationwide, and it would be twice as big for the Cup. And also, the Montreal crowd is used to having the top level of racing, which is Formula One. So they're expecting to get the Cup as well. So it would have a big success, and it would bring a new market to a new sponsorship base to the whole NASCAR. That just having Nationwide makes it a little bit more difficult to get, just because they're used to having Formula One anyway. So to then bring the Canadian companies into NASCAR, you need to get the Cup there.
Well, Villeneuve has a point.
I love the idea of taking the Cup race, the Cup Series, to Canada. They tried the Nationwide experiment in Mexico City for a little while, and it didn't work out because Mexico City, neither the track nor the area had the infrastructure, the support system in place to make that race really viable. Well, that's not true in Canada, and it's not true in Montreal. I love Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. I'd love to see it get a Cup date. I'd love to see it get a Chase Cup date.
Well, I think specifically, maybe not specifically Montreal, but just Canada in general. You talk about expanding into markets. We've talked about the Pacific Northwest. We've talked about New York City over the years.
Vancouver, BC would be a great place for
Vancouver would be a great place. Toronto, Ontario would be a fantastic place, and Montreal would be a great place. So I think you get one market there, and you get a whole nation. There are a lot of race fans in Canada. I'm here to tell you from the Rowdy perspective. We have tons of Canadian fans, tons of Canadian listeners to our Rowdy podcast. Canada would be a great place for a race, but the rub, as always, is, okay, you want to protect your Martinsville, where do you get this race from? And that's always the
there are plenty of places I don't want to protect.
Okay, but we're not going to go there right now, because I'll accuse you of being negative and cynical.
I just say that I think Manitoba is an underappreciated province?
You could be right. You could be right. And with that, we'll end today's Rowdy.com Big 6, thanks to Gumout Regain Complete Fuel System Cleaner, 10 times the detergency of Lucas. 10 times!
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.